There you go. You're live.
There we go.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for all coming. Greetings. On behalf of Muslim Society of Buffalo, also known as Jami Masjid, we'd like to thank all of you for coming out for our, I think this is our 7th open house. Thank you for coming. It's very important that we continue doing these open houses and we establish stronger relationships and build connections with each other, as this is one of our goals here in our community. We'd like to start with the recitation of Quran by our vice principal of our Islamic school here. He's going to open up with some recitation of Quran, and then followed by that we'll continue with the program. Hafiz here? Who's here?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. You alone do we worship, you alone do we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom you blessed, not those who are displeased, not those whom you are displeased with, and those also who you guide astray. Like Brother Tamer was saying, welcome everyone. This is Surah Al-Fatiha, the chapter in the Quran called the opening. And there's no salah, there's no prayer without this surah, without this chapter. This is the chapter in which the foundation of the religion is on. So we welcome you all and thank you for coming. And inshallah we'll have our next item up. Inshallah, Brother Taylor. Thank you.
One of the reasons we like to host these open houses and invite guests is obviously to help to build, as I mentioned in the beginning, relationships, and how important that is, especially with a lot of the misconceptions about Muslims and also what's happening here in the hood. And there's a lot of like false information and a lot of misunderstood information. So it's really important for us as a responsibility to invite guests in and to let them hear about who we are and what type of work we do and the type of goals that we are trying to achieve here and building relationships. We are established in 2009. This mosque came in 2009 here, and in that time we've been doing community work on multi-levels, especially with the youth. We have 2 playgrounds, basketball court, a lot of things for the young kids to do, and it's really wonderful, especially in the summer. You see a lot of people outside playing together and building those relationships and getting comfortable with each other, as we find this is so important, especially in the area that we live in, and giving alternatives to the youth. So we do a lot of youth work, but at the same time, we host these small open houses and different programs and barbecues to allow people to come in and also see like what type of work we do. It's for us, it's imperative. The people that are running this community, almost all of us were born and raised in Buffalo, or at least I could say definitely in New York State. And so we're very well aware of the situation. Myself, I grew up in Clarence and ended up moving to the city of Buffalo with the intention of hopefully making a difference over here. And one of those beautiful connections that we helped to establish was with Dr. Carl Stokes, and he will be our first speaker. Dr. Carl Stokes, he came and he spoke to our children, and he really had a strong effect on them. And we saw that specifically the topic that he spoke about, being positive, really had an effect on all of the children. So we said, well, let's do something for the adults as well, because we're living in such a negative time, and there's so much negativity, and there's just like almost this strong sense of like, well, we can't do anything anyway. There's too many things against us, so just forget it. But Dr. Stokes doesn't speak that voice. He speaks a voice of hope, a voice of positivity, and that's what we need more of to help to change the wave towards a positive side, is we think that has a huge effect on us. Dr. Carl Stokes is also an award-winning social worker. He's an educator. He's a professor at the university, and he works as a college instructor and recently received his doctorate in education. His dissertation focuses on black males and their perseverance in the community colleges. Dr. Carl is passionate about working to uplift the community. Especially, he loves mentoring young black fathers and helping them see their full potential. He also enjoys teaching parenting class for small non-for-profit organizations. On a day off, you might find Dr. Stokes biking with his wife and daughters, or teaching his pet bird, Mango, a new word. So with no further ado, if we could have Dr. Carl Stokes come on up and share some words about positivity and change within ourselves and our families. You want to be more mobile? This is fine. You should. Yeah, do I need to click it on? Yeah, please. Yeah, right there.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay. So, am I happy to be here? What do you think? Yeah? Do I like what I'm seeing here? What do you think? What do I like about what I'm seeing here? What I like is I see people from all walks of life in this room. What makes me even more excited is that I'm standing in this beautiful building that I've seen on Genesee Street my whole life that I lived in Buffalo, and never really knew what was inside. I'm also excited because when I first stepped foot in this building, I was welcomed as if I had always been here. And I don't know about you, but that hasn't always happened with different places. So sometimes the brothers give me a little too much credit and talk about my positivity, because I'm only putting out what I receive. You understand what I'm saying? If I walked in here and didn't feel the love, it would be harder for me to give it back out. Does that make sense? Okay. Every time I come here, I get embraced. The children come up to me, right? They smile, they get me excited. They recite parts of my book, right? Yeah. And it puts me in a good place. So typically when I talk to groups, I have a plan. But today is going to be a little bit different, because I'm in one of my favorite places right now, and the thing that gets me going is this sense of community. The sense of community. So I was talking to Brother Tammer earlier, and he told me, because he's heard me ramble on many, many a days, and he told me earlier that part of my story was kind of intriguing, I guess you said, something like that, right? But I'm like, I don't want to talk about myself again. But as I was walking into the building today, I started to think, maybe I should. And not only should I do that, I should probably talk about something in particular, which I don't really share often. So, for those of you who don't know me, as I said, I'm born and raised in Buffalo, on the east side. And I didn't have a very easy situation growing up, okay? And I know a lot of you can probably relate to that. Impoverished conditions, addictions in the household, mental health issues in the household. So, I want to tell you about a particular day that I experienced when I was younger. My father, Stokes Sr, was a great person. Everything was there until the addiction got a hold of him, right? We know what that can do to people, right? It can take out the best of us. So things got really bad at home. And my dad was incarcerated, off and on for many years. And things got so bad at home that my mother decided to take my younger brother and I and kind of sneak off while he was incarcerated to kind of start over, right? So it was a nice summer day, kind of like today, and the plan was for us to go away while my dad was still gone. What we didn't know is that my dad must have got released early, right? So while my mother, my brother, and myself were out scrambling around, getting last minute things together, we planned on going to the house and packing up real quick and leaving out. Now mind you, it's a hot summer day. There's tons of people outside. And in the middle of that hot summer day, while we were out, my father, in a very bad state of mind, recently released from incarceration, broke into our upstairs apartment. And when I say broke in, I mean, apparently he scaled the railings to enter through the top porch and get into the apartment. It was essentially waiting for us. Now, the reason why I bring that up is it was a nice summer day, which means there were a lot of people outside. Which means there was a lot of people outside. Which means when this woman and her 2 children were coming into the house, nobody told her that somebody scaled the railing and entered the apartment. So, I'm not going to get into details of the day we had once we entered the apartment, because that's not the relevant part. But what was missing in that scenario? What was missing in that scenario? Why was there a bunch of people on my street, saw that woman and children walk into that house and did not warn her? What was missing? Community. Community was missing. That's why when I walk in here, it warms my heart, because there's community here. So, Those that know me understand how I do. Those that don't know me, I'll let you know. I don't just be out here talking. I don't just be out here talking. I mean what I say. Okay? There's not too many places that have a welcoming presence, an open door policy, feeding, helping, interacting with the community, with the neighborhood, okay? Now, I'll be honest with you and explain that when I first came into the space, due to my ignorance, not understanding the culture, I didn't want to step wrong. I didn't want to make any mistakes, right? I remember the very first time, and I don't know if I told Brother Tam or Brothers to hear this, but the first time I came here, I came through the front, and I saw this nice carpet, and I saw shoes, and I said, oh man, I don't think I'm supposed to walk in here, right? But nobody was there to tell me. I didn't know what to do, so I like, you know what, I'll come back another day. So I actually stood him up on my first appointment, right? Because of that. Because I just didn't want to make a mistake, right? So when we rescheduled, then I got in and I was showered with conversation and gifts, right? I got the, and listen, I'm not trying to hate on y'all, but I think I got the nicest prayer rug from Brother Tam. I just want to put that out there. Okay? So, the idea that we may not all eat the same, we may not all pray the same, right? We may not all dress the same, but the respect and the humanity is there. Can you feel that? Of course you can. Of course you can. Because there's an energy. And what the people here are trying to do is let everybody in the community know the value and the energy and the positivity and the sense of community in this building. That's why I'm here. Because anything I can do to help bridge a gap, right? That's what I want to do. So, yeah, positivity. I tell the children, when I talk to the children, I tell them to wake up and be positive, right? Think positively, and maybe your day will go better. But listen, we coming off of a very difficult time right now, right? Life is different. Things have changed. Global pandemic and so on and so forth. But now, we're starting to come back. We're starting to be able to gather a little bit. People are feeling safer. So now that we're on the comeback, let's try to come back even harder than before. Let's come back with that sense of community, with that brotherhood, that sisterhood. People from Buffalo, outside of Buffalo, wherever you're coming from. Programs, right? Community events. These guys are barbecuing out here, and they're teaching. And what I personally want to see is, thank you. What I personally want to see is a complete annihilation of the stigma of this community. That's what I want to see. Because now that the people in this community are my people, now I'm taking extra offense when somebody says something wrong. Before I understood, I would just kind of like, oh, that's not okay. But now we got a problem. Because I cannot sit here and constantly advocate for unfair treatment of black people but at the same time be okay with Islamophobia. So I had to check myself on that. And that's where I am right now. So when we talk about positivity, there's a chain of events here. And this is what I think, right? When we talk about focusing and being positive, that's got to start from within. And once we start that from within, then we can do it as family. Then we take these families and then do it as a what? A community. All family ain't blood. I got some blood relatives that I don't mess with. I don't know about y'all. She laughing. You know what I'm talking about. We probably related. You probably didn't talk to me. So if all blood relatives ain't really family, that means that people that are not blood relatives can be family. I feel like I got a family here. And my family is a loving, caring, positive family that wants to grow throughout the community. Because here's the thing that we often forget. When we band together, people can't pull those kind of moves on us. If we want the neighborhood to be right, we have to stand up for the neighborhood. There's a concept called divide and conquer, right? Once they see that there's no unity, it's easier to take over. Am I telling the truth? Yeah, I am. I don't just be talking. But once they see that there is unity across cultures, across demographics, across socioeconomic status, across levels of education, once they see that there is a bond, there's a connection, there's unity, that means there's protection. But we got to protect each other first. So, having an open mind, open heart, being able and willing to bond with somebody who thinks differently, who lives differently, that just makes everybody stronger. And for those of us who are in the community, what do we often say? Oh, they do this, they do that. Who is they? They is people who are not in the community. So if we're worried about what they are going to do, why don't we do something first? Does that make sense? Anything anybody in the community wants to know about the culture, about the religion. And by the way, I'm sorry, let me stop real quick. Who made the punch outside?
That's my wife.
Wait, hey, we need to talk afterwards. Right? But being introduced to new things, that's part of growth, right? Okay. So we're here to grow together, be family together, be community together, get stronger together, regardless of what you look like or how you sound. But we have to start it. We can't wait around for everybody else. It's not everybody else's job to fix things for us. We have to start. The doors are open. Just got to go through them. Take time. I did it. And I've been content. I thought about converting on the low. We keep that on the low, but we talk about that another time. So, what I'm saying is, I'm glad to see what I see today. Let's take what we learned today and spread it and get those connections. All right? Can we do that? I'm counting on you. Because I've been doing it. And I'm going to continue to do it. God bless you all. I'll see you soon.
Small gift from our community for you.
Oh,
He said he got gifts.
More
So
presents.
we got you more gifts.
Okay.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes. I appreciate it.
No problem. Should we take that down for you?
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.